If you are seeing a therapist for an eating disorder or for another reason, you may experience this fear occasionally of letting them down or almost disappointing them. If that's something that's ever been something you felt, we're going to talk about that in this video. But first, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie. I'm Long Island's eating disorder specialist. I post on this channel 3 times a week, and I talk about eating disorders, body image issues, and general mental health. So I really would appreciate if you subscribe if it's something that you're interested in by clicking the subscribe button down below. I also have an Instagram and a weekly blog. I will leave those links in the description below. Have you ever had a fear or maybe this anxiety about going into session or maybe doing something that you believe that your therapist would not approve of in terms of recovery or in terms of getting better? Again, you could really talk about any issue here. Me particularly, I'm talking about eating disorders, but you could just substitute any mental health disorder really for the eating disorder. You may have even tried to cancel your upcoming session because of this fear or anxiety that you are going to say something or do something, or that you weren't able to complete the goal that you and your therapist had set forth for that week. You may want to cancel that session just so that you don't have to face them and disappoint them. As a therapist, I want to speak on behalf of all of us. You are not going to disappoint your therapist. If you were unable to achieve a goal that both of you set forth together, that means that that is something that you can learn from. Something is a problem, and that's what you need to address. Therapy isn't like, okay, here, like, I'm going to give you an outline, just do it and work it, and then everything's going to be fine. No. There are things that come up, there are challenges that come up, and if you are unable to achieve a goal that you guys really worked hard to put together, there's something more to it, and that needs to be addressed in therapy. It's not something to be ashamed of, it's not something to have anxiety over, it's something to learn from. Perhaps you guys set a goal that you would not weigh yourself for a whole day. And during that week, every single day you weighed yourself, possibly even multiple times a day. And now because of that, you are ashamed to tell your therapist that. Or maybe you'll even try to conceal it when you do go to your therapy session and evade if your therapist checks up on it or whatnot. And that's something that also is not helpful for you, because when you are concealing it or when you are trying to avoid it or trying to cancel because of this, it is allowing your unhealthy self or your eating disorder to win. We can use this thing that happened to you, this inability to complete a goal, as a learning opportunity. There's no such thing as failures in my eyes. It's all a learning opportunity to grow, to learn from, to, figure out yourself and figure out what's going on with you. And if you are unable to achieve that goal, perhaps there is something that we could tweak with that goal so that the next time you try to do it, you are setting yourself up more for success. Anytime there is a failure, it's just an opportunity to learn. And to be completely transparent, perhaps one of the reasons that you have this anxiety is because your therapist tends to be hard on you. And this is something that I really do want to address for a second. For instance, because I work with eating disorders, as I've talked about many a times, there is a part of you that is the eating disorder and a part of you that is a healthy self. Because I do have to get tough on the eating disorder. I don't want to dance with the eating disorder. And I know when the eating disorder pops up in sessions. And I do explain that to my client as well. If I say, no, this is something we have to do, I cannot let your eating disorder win. It is always on your eating disorder. And it's never something on you or your healthy self. And I'm very transparent with that. And I say, hey, I'm not going to be kind to your eating disorder because I know that right now I'm speaking to your eating disorder and I have no interest in doing that. I want to find the healthy self, and that's who I want to speak with. And more than likely, if you are struggling with the eating disorder, you may experience times where you feel that your therapist is tough on you or disappointed in you. And if that ever is coming across, know that that is something that is not the case. And if that is something you feel, perhaps your therapist isn't being very clear on what they're trying to do or what they're getting at. And that's something I would definitely encourage you to have an open conversation with your therapist about. something I talk about with my clients all the time. As soon as they start with me, I say, listen, if there's something, I'm human. If there's something that I say, if there's something that I do that makes you uncomfortable or that just doesn't work for you, let me know, because something that works for one person may not work for the other. And it's something that as a therapist, you kind of get in tune with the clients that you have, and you tend to, cater to the individual that you have, and you know how to work with that individual person. But things work for differently for different people. So if there's ever a time that you feel uncomfortable about, or just feeling that your therapist is disappointed, there's no reason that you have to sit with that on your own. Be open, have that conversation with your therapist, and a good therapist is going to be very receptive to that and explain either what they're doing and clarify. And if they don't, perhaps that's not the right therapist for you. I wish I could say that every therapist is phenomenal, but unfortunately we are in a world that's just not always the case. So this is something that I'm speaking of with therapists who are good. But if you're feeling that perhaps that is not the case with the therapist that you're having, and you're not having a really great relationship with them, maybe it's time to consider looking for a new one. And that's just what you need to do for yourself. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below about whether or not you ever experienced this fear or anxiety about disappointing your therapist and what you did about it. You can click my face over here to subscribe to my channel, and I wish you understanding of what your therapist is trying to do on your journey to finding your state of balance. I'll see you in my next video.